Hello, year six students. How's everything? I hope that you're doing great. Today, as I promised all of you that I'm going to be answering this exam paper. Okay, Cambridge International Education Checkpoint Progression 2026, paper one. Okay, so I hope that that all of you answered this exam paper, and then we will go for the discussion about this exam. It's really important for you to make sure that you answered this paper, okay, along with paper two and progression 2025, paper one and paper two. So for today, I'll show you my strategy in answering this exam paper, how to manage my time between reading comprehension and writing, okay, because it's really important. The time is about an hour, so you need to make sure that you have 30 minutes for answering the reading comprehension and 30 minutes for writing. So the most common question is, what should I do? Read the questions first, okay, and go and answer the questions directly, or should I go for reading the context first, reading all of it, and then go for the questions? My advice to you all is to read the question, okay, part by part, and read it paragraph by paragraph. Don't look for the answer. You have to read it paragraph and paragraph by paragraph. I'll show you how to apply this strategy. It's really important for you to know how to manage your tools in the exam and how to be so skillful in the exam strategy so that you will achieve the highest mark. Okay, so in here we have this paper, questions paper, and this is those are the questions 1 to 8, right? And this is question number one. Look at the first and second paragraphs, lines 3 to 9. So my major focus at the moment is is to focus and read these two paragraphs. This is important. Okay, don't read the whole context. It's a waste of time. So focus on these two paragraphs. Do not search for the answer at the moment. Just read these two paragraphs first, and then you will find it easy and understandable for you, accessible for you. Let's see how to do that. Okay, let's go for the first question. What punctuation does the writer use to emphasize Jordan's feelings in the first paragraph? Give the simile that the writer uses to show that Jordan is very high up. How many mountains had Jordan climbed to achieve his goal? Give one word that means painting. So I have four questions in the first four sub questions in the first section or in the first question. So let's see. Jordan Romero stood on the snowy peak of Vinson Massif, the highest mountain in Antarctica. We made it, he exclaimed, with his head nearly in the clouds, feeling as if he was floating above the world. It was December 24, 2011, and Jordan had just reached his goal. It had all begun in a corridor in elementary school when he was 9 years old. He spotted a mural showing the highest mountain peaks on the seven continents and thought to himself, I'd like to climb these mountains. All right, so the first questions is asking about punctuation marks. So you have to make sure that you know the punctuation marks. What are they? Exclamation mark, question mark, maybe a rhetorical question, ellipsis. Let's see, we don't know. So the punctuation mark in here that I could spot is what? Nothing except the exclamation mark. And here that emphasizes his maybe surprise, his feelings of happiness, his feeling of excitement. He was so excited at the moment because he achieved a very huge accomplishment. Okay, so the first thing in here is exclamation mark, right? Sorry, I'm writing in Arabic. Okay, it's basically exclamation mark. That's really easy so far. Give the simile that the writer uses to show that Jordan is very high up. Now, we have a simile. Remind yourself all the time. A simile, something which has like or as. Okay, compares two things by using the magic tool, which is like or as. So at the moment, we will see, and I think it's gonna be super, super tangible in here, how to spot something which has like or as. He exclaimed with his head nearly in the clouds, feeling as if, okay, he was floating above the world. Okay, so this simile description, a figure of speech in here to show how excited he was, how ecstatic he was. Okay, so the answer is as if he was floating above the world. Okay, so let's write the answer all together. As if he was floating above the world. Okay. Okay. Let's go. How many mountains had Jordan climbed to achieve his goal? The mountains, nothing about the numbers except this part. Let's see. He spotted a mural showing the highest mountain peaks on the seven continents, right? And thought to himself, I'd like to climb these mountains. Which means in here he dreamed about something and in here he achieved it. So nothing except seven continents, which means seven mountains, right? So the answer is simply seven. Okay, see how I answer the questions. I read the paragraphs thoroughly, understand them. Do not look for the answer directly, just read the paragraphs properly so that you will be completely aware of the context in these two paragraphs, right? One word which means painting, okay? So I think the word which means painting, something unfamiliar for you, okay? And again, painting in here functions as a noun. The part of speech is a noun, okay? So in here, he spotted a mural showing the highest mountain peaks. So nothing means painting except mural, because in here it's really unfamiliar word, I know, but if you replace the word painting, uh like for any, like replace it on any of the other words, it's not gonna make any sense except this word. Okay, so make sure that you replace the word. For example, if you spotted corridor, it does not make any sense. If you replace it with mountain, does not make any sense except this word. So whenever he asking you to come up with a word which means a specific word, you have to try and replace it. Does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. So I'm gonna choose this one. Okay. So I'm gonna use it. Okay. You can put it between inverted commas like that. It's also easy. Okay, moving on to the next part in here. Look at the third paragraph, lines 10 to 18. So now I'm done with the first two paragraphs. I know them by heart and I understand them. They are easy. So let's go for the third long, chunky paragraph in here. Okay, this is number 3 in here. So you have to make sure that you read it thoroughly in here. Okay, let's read the questions. How many oh, 4. Okay, no problem. Give one phrase that means did things enthusiastically. Of course, you know enthusiastically, which means excitedly. Okay, the word enthusiastic is one of the most common words. I'm gonna write for you in here. Excitedly. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are aware of a lot of words. Okay, you are very knowledgeable with unfamiliar words, vocabulary, so that you will be so skillful and spot any of the unfamiliar phrases or vocabulary. What does it refer to in line 12? Okay, so it in here, it's a personal pronoun. Okay, so we need to see, or you need to know, what does it replace? What does it refer to? Okay, we will see. Give two sentences openers the writer uses to show how Jordan's interests change over time in this paragraph. Okay, What does the writer emphasize by using questions in this paragraph? Okay, so we will see these four questions when reading the paragraph thoroughly and properly. So, Jordan was the kind of a boy who always threw himself into everything. Threw himself into everything is a very common phrase, which means he always tries, which is unfamiliar, which the thing which is so challenging for everyone. If something caught his attention, he could find out all about it. When he was younger, this is it, had been reptiles, and he had known absolutely everything about them. That was why he was always outdoors exploring nature. But then his attention turned to mountains during the long vacation between third and fourth grade. The idea of climbing all those mountains started to take shape. He researched facts about the seven summits down to the last detail by watching films about the big mountain peaks on television. Who had climbed them? Okay, how high were they? Which route to the top was the best? Again, I have questions in here and I have it in here. Okay, so the questions started to be clear in the paragraph. So again, I can generate questions from the paragraph. Yes, we can generate questions from the paragraph. It's so easy. So the first thing, give one phrase which means did things enthusiastically. Nothing mean this phrase except this one, which shows excitement, shows happiness, shows enthusiasm in here. Threw himself into things means that he always does everything excitedly, okay? So the phrase means, so the phrase is threw himself into everything. Threw himself into, this is the most important part. Okay, threw himself into. Okay, if you didn't write in anything, everything doesn't make it's not a problem. Okay, so no, this is not the question. It's in here, sorry. All right. Again, let's focus on the word phrase. Phrase means group of words. It's not a complete sentence. It's not one word. So phrase, not a complete sentence. You cannot say Jordan was a kind of boy. If you started from the very beginning, even if you mentioned the correct part of the question or maybe of the answer, you will not take the grade because I want you to highlight a phrase, group of words, not a complete sentence, not subject, verb, and object, and do not come up with one word because one word's not a phrase. Again, if you wrote the whole sentence but you highlighted this part or underline it, it's gonna be okay. However, you need to spot the phrase only, write it in the answer section, as simple as that. Okay, what does it refer to in line in maybe in line 12? Okay, it's easy. Um Let's see in here. If something caught his attention, he would find out all about it. It's in here. Okay, something caught his attention. When he was younger, it had been reptile. So it in here and it in here. We don't have more it's rather than these two. So the word or maybe the personal pronoun it in here refers back to the thing which caught his attention, the something which caught his attention, as simple as that. Yes. So something caught his attention. This is the thing which caught his attention. Okay, something caught his attention. Okay, easy. All right, give two sentence openers the writer uses to show how Jordan's interests change over time in this paragraph. Okay, the sentence openers are very simple. However, they are sometimes confusing for some students. So I'm going to give you a secret of the sentence openers. Okay, I'll show you an acronym which will summarize for you the sentence openers. The sentence openers, when basically start a sentence or open a sentence with a phrase, okay, or maybe with a conjunction, so that you will add details, more description to the sentence. It's not a normal sentence opener. I was walking happily, for example. I was walking yesterday in the street. It's not, it's a normal sentence opener. The sentence openers are simply I space. What does I space mean? Okay, I-SPACE is an acronym which summarizes all the sentence opener. Let's take this note all together in here. I stands for ing opener. For example, feeling very happy, I was walking in a street. Feeling petrified, I was walking in a gloomy street. This is the ing. S stands for simile. Okay, like a swift rabbit, I was running, dashing through the woods as fast as a cheetah, yeah, and like anything which has like or as, you can use it as a sentence opener, okay, as fast as a flash so it's really easy, okay? That's when it comes to the sentence opener, when it comes to the simile. P, prepositional phrase. Okay. All right, so prepositional phrase is basically when you start with a preposition and a word. Like, what's that? Prepositional phrase. It's basically when you are sorry. Okay, the prepositional phrase when you have a preposition under the table, for a fraction of a second, in a split second, over the moon. So when you start with a phrase, okay, A stands for adverb, which is easy, ly adverb. The most common one, which is ly adverb. The swiftly, quickly, relentlessly, and so on, enthusiastically, maybe. And this is the adverb, and then the C. Yeah, the most important part, C stands for conjunction in a complex sentence or a compound sentence. It could be the two, or in a compound sentence. And then we're gonna see that in here. Let's leave E for the upcoming video. What does E stands for? I'll tell you that in the upcoming video. Okay, so let's search for any of these sentence openers. We have maybe conjunction, adverb, prepositional phrase, simile, or maybe ing opener. Let's see in here. Okay. That was why he was always outdoors exploring nature. But then his attention turned to mountains. Okay. During the long vacation between third and fourth grade, the idea of climbing all those mountains started to take shape. He researched facts about the seven summits, okay, by watching, so I could spot some of them. So number one was but then, this conjunction, which has this adverb. This is a very good sentence opener. As I said, conjunction in a compound sentence or in a complex sentence. Okay, another sentence opener in here, I think, let's see. Yeah, when he was younger, this is a conjunction in a complex sentence. Okay, so these are two different sentence openers, and I can accept this one during the long vacation. Okay, this is also a sentence opener, one of them. So it's really easy for you to consider it. Um, okay. So you will say when he was younger, but then this is really easy for you. Okay, during is a prepositional phrase also. Okay. Um, all right, so let's see in here. When he was younger. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then it is but then, so conjunction in a complex or compound sentence. I can accept also during, during what? In here, the long vacation, okay? Okay. What does the writer emphasize by using questions in this paragraph? Questions are very easy. Do not be scared of the usage of the question. Make it normal and natural. Think about it. When I write any question in any context, what does question emphasize? It emphasizes any, or maybe any question simply emphasizes something that I'm very curious about, something that I'm very interested about. I want to know about it. So I'm asking questions to find a clue, to find an answer for something which is totally captivating me. Okay, so this is the simple answer of asking any question, which means these are, or those questions emphasize Jordan's interest, wonder, curiosity, all those things, how passionate he was to find out a lot of information about something he was so passionate about, he was so obsessed about, he was completely captivated about. Okay, so in here, those questions, these questions emphasize Jordan's interest, okay, and passion about um, something. I mean, like anything. Um, okay. All right. So, because let's read the questions again. Who had climbed them? He's so curious in here. Okay. Intrusive again. How high were they? Which route to the top was the best? He's so passionate about something, so captivated to discover, to explore more. Okay, so he's highly imaginative at the moment, so excited, eager, and again, he's so intrepid and brave. Okay, right. We just answered the first two questions, but they have a lot of details. Let's move on to the question number three. Look at the fourth paragraph, lines 19 to 24. Give a phrase from this paragraph which means ambitious person. I know that you maybe feel confused that what does the word ambitious means. However, ambitious is a very easy word and it happens before. When did that happen? Refer back to Progression 2024, okay, about Billy when he was walking in a street, okay. Whenever the more you answer a lot of past papers, read the context properly, you will enlarge the amount of the vocabulary that you have. So the word ambitious here means someone who has target in the future, someone who is very dreaming about his future. And this is the adjective, and the noun of this word is ambition, okay? Okay, ambition. This is a very good word for you. Okay, this is the noun of this of this adjective, sorry. Ambitious, someone who someone who wants to be a better person in the future. Okay, so in here, we need to continue, yes, reading from 19 to 24. Let's see in here. You need only to find this question in this paragraph. So let's read the paragraph all together. He was and still is, okay, something between brackets just for extra information, but not important extra information, okay? Not essential. He just give you filler. The ultimate goal setter. Okay, he was the ultimate goal setter, ambitious person. I cannot find something except this one. And he knew that his parents would be behind him all the way as they were professional athletes themselves. So, ultimate goal setter, which means ambitious person. Ultimate means complete. Goal setter, he's always, he works all the time. Okay. So the answer is ultimate goal setter, right? Okay. Look at the fifth paragraph, lines 25 to 32. Jordan needed to train for his climbing challenge. Complete the table with quotations from this paragraph. Okay, we need to read this paragraph properly in here, and we will see, okay, this paragraph. Jordan's climbs would require High to carry his equipment and to pull sleds full of provisions up each mountain. He could need to learn to breathe at high elevations in order to avoid altitude sickness. So Jordan began his training by hiking with his dad in the Sierra Nevada, a mountain range straddling the states of Nevada and California. He carried a heavy backpack and even a medicine ball. He tied a tire to his waist and dragged it behind him. He also went running up high in the mountains near his home. After a while, he found that he wasn't always so much out of breath. After a while is a sentence opener. Okay, consider this as well. All right, so we need to find quotations, which means skills he needed for his challenge. Carrying his own things. We could spot that. Something about carrying. Okay, carrying. Yeah, we have carry in here. So, require carry his equipment and pull sleds full of provisions. Okay, if you don't know what does that mean, he gives you here a glossary. So provisions means food and drink. Okay, that means that it means that in here. So the thing carrying his own things carried a heavy backpack and even a medicine ball. Okay, so in here, carrying the equipment, okay, he would need to learn to breathe at high elevations in order to avoid altitude. Jordan began his training by hiking a mountain range. Okay, so he carried, okay, so carried what? A heavy backpack and even a medicine ball. Okay, why didn't I choose this one, but I chose this one? Because he needed his challenge, his own things, his own things. How he trained? He trained by carrying a heavy backpack and even a medicine ball. That is this thing he was using when he was training. So this is the strategy in here. Okay. So a heavy backpack, number one. Okay. Heavy backpack. Okay. Pulling a sled. Okay, skills he needed for pulling a sled, how he trained. Okay, let's go for it to the context when he was pulling a sled. Let's see. Pulling a sled, we just read it at the moment. Okay, learned to breathe at high elevation. So Jordan began his training by hiking with his dad, a mountain range, straddling. Okay, heavy backpack and even. He tied a tire to his waist and dragged it behind him. He also went running up high in a mountain near his home. So to do this thing or to train this challenge, he tied a tire to his waist and dragged it behind him. Okay, so this is the thing that he was using to train this hard challenge. Okay, tied a tire. Okay, around his waist. Okay, right. Breathing high altitude, the answer is um what did he do? Okay. or what did he need for this challenge for the breathing at high altitude? What did he practice basically? Let's see in here. I think that he was maybe trying to run up the mountains. Yes, he began his training by hiking with his dad. Yes, maybe this one by hiking with his dad in the Sierra Nevada, a mountain range straddling the states of Nevada and California. Okay, this is the thing. So that's to manage his breathing. All right. So hiking with his dad. Okay, this is also the thing. Hiking with his dad, I think that. Okay, and so on. And one extra thing I could accept when running up high in the mountains. Okay, it says in here he tried or he practiced to went up high in the mountains. All right, so that he could practice yeah, this one. He went running up in the mountains near his home. Okay, went up sorry, I just let's put it back again. Okay, all right, in here. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I think that finding the quotations in this question was very easy. Okay, let's move on to the final question for our lesson today. Question number 5. Look at the six paragraph lines 33 to 60 to 36. Give one technique that Jordan's parents encouraged him to use. Give a word, only a word, not two words, not a sentence. Focus on that. From this paragraph, that means an inspirational phrase. Okay, why Colin used in here? This is very important. Let's see, because Colin, I'll tell you how to manage this question properly to guarantee the highest mark in here. Give one technique that Jordan's parents encouraged him to use. I think, yeah, this paragraph is easy. All right. To help him prepare mentally, his parents had taught him to think outside the box and to break down the challenge of climbing the mountain into a series of smaller steps. He adopted the motto of Sir Edmund Hillary, who reached the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. It is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. Okay, so let's find the first quotation, the first question in here. We need the technique about the parents. Let's go for the parents. See the parents. What does the parents or what do the parents say in here? They said, okay, or they say in here, think out of the box. This is the technique that they taught him, or okay, that they told him like to do. Again, they did something more or maybe something extra. They also asked him to break down the challenge of climbing the mountain into a series of smaller steps. So think out of the box is the first option for you. Okay, and the easiest one, of course. Think out of the box. Okay. And then I need a word from this paragraph that means an inspirational phrase. Look at this one, inspiration. He adopted the motto of Sir. The motto thing, it's kind of inspirational thing. I need a word, not a phrase. Here is because this is confusing, but he needs a word. If you replaced again the word inspirational, nothing except motto. Nothing means inspiration except motto. So motto is the word in here. Okay. The writer uses a colon. Let's see, why does the writer use a colon? Just to introduce what? What did the writer introduce in here? It's very easy. It's a quotation. Here is something is basically quoted for someone else who is the Edmund Hillary, Sir Edmund Hillary. Okay, and then so that I just put a colon in here just to introduce a quotation. One of the easiest usages of quotation. So to introduce a quotation. Thank you so much for listening to this session, and I hope that you learned something different today, something new today. Stay tuned for the upcoming session to continue answering this paper and to go for the writing section. Writing section is basically about writing recount. Okay, recount is very inspirational thing. And recount writing in here happened in stage 9 and stage 6. So maybe the examiner here wants you to focus on recount writing, descriptive writing, because recount is mostly about description. So stay tuned for answering this writing section later on. Happy for this amazing session. Bye, everyone.